Welcome. I'm Karen Dunphy, a licensed practitioner here at Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas. Thank you for joining me today as we move into meditation, into this time of reflection and contemplation. I invite you now to relax in this moment. And so, I invite you now to turn your attention inward to that innermost place in each and every one of us where all is well. All is perfect. That place has never been harmed. It never will be harmed. For that place is the essence of spirit within us. Spirit knows no lack, knows no harm, knows no fear. So as we are in consciousness this morning, I'm going to take you on a journey from fear to faith and back. And so as we remain in consciousness, I invite you to recall when fear was first discovered. And we picked it up on our journey, and it's had its influence along the way, sometimes greater, sometimes not so great. They say the opposite of fear is faith. And to move from fear to faith is the great leap that we all can make. fear and faith are two sides of the same coin. Which one is present, we get to decide. The tool we have for deciding is our thought. Thought is the great vehicle for moving from fear to faith. They say, I have faith in God. I have faith in Spirit. I say, I have the faith of God. I have the faith of Spirit. As Spirit resides in me, and I am made of the stuff that Spirit is, I know that I have all the faith that Spirit has. I know Spirit has faith in me. Spirit is in me. Spirit is me. There is no lack of faith anywhere to be found. Whatever I have picked up along the way in my journey, I can let go of. I no longer keep anything that does not serve me. Fear does not serve me. I choose by thinking to let it go. I release and I let go of fear. As it has been said, fear is an acronym for false evidence appearing real. I would rather say that it is feeling excited and ready, for I take on my life with happiness and trust and love and joy and faith of Spirit in me, as me, and through me. And so it is.
Welcome. This is Centers for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas. CSLGLV is known as a teaching center. You may wish to experience this celebration service as many of our members do by having pen and paper nearby. Be ready to jot down many of the ideas, teachings, and inspirations presented here today. The service begins right after these community messages. The monthly publication, Science of Mind magazine, is a treasure to be read and contemplated. Along with in-depth articles, there is a day-to-day spiritual support to be gleaned from its daily guides. Licensed practitioner Lynn Frankenberger hosts Adventures in Faith every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Zoom, and you're invited to join in. This is a weekly group discussion that focuses on those daily guides and how to apply them. Check Facebook and our weekly newsletter for more details. CSL Greater Las Vegas brings you much of your favorite spiritual music every Friday at 7 p.m. with Spiritual Soundscapes. Enjoy performances from CSLGLV vocalists along with special guest singers. It's music for your soul. Subscribe to the CSLGLV YouTube channel to get a convenient link sent to you for each musical performance. At CSL Greater Las Vegas, it is our mission to inspire spiritual discovery through community connection, exploration, and celebration. This mission supports the all-inclusive vision of Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide, in which we envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation. Before we begin this celebration service, let's all join in and sing our opening song together.
Come and celebrate a new day. Celebrate the beauty of the earth. Come and look at life in a new way. Celebrate the wonder of rebirth. Arise, shine, and see a brand new morning. Arise, shine, we made it through the night. Arise, shine, it's a brand new day that's dawning. Come celebrate the light. Arise, shine, and see a brand new morning. Arise, shine, we made it through the night. Arise, shine, it's a brand new day that's dawning. Come celebrate the light. Come celebrate the light. Come and celebrate the light.
Arise and shine. It is a brand new morning. I am Karen Dunphy, a licensed practitioner here at Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas, and it is my pleasure to be here with you as we experience this uplifting celebration service together. Before we get started, I would like to mention that if you are in need of or seek spiritual nourishment throughout your week, make sure you subscribe to this channel by clicking the red subscribe button and bell icon below. This way, you'll be informed of our weekly Monday message, our meditations, and our uplifting soulful music. Become spiritually connected with us throughout the week just by subscribing. And throughout this service, if you feel a need for prayer, a prayer and a blessing for you, a family member, or a friend, then please go to our website and select our prayer request. Prayer and meditation are two very powerful spiritual traditions here in our community. Know that licensed spiritual practitioners are deeply committed to supporting you through prayer. We are here for you. Please feel free to call on us. As a matter of fact, even as I speak, 2 practitioners are providing spiritual support right now for you, for me, for our entire community. They are holding us in deep spiritual loving care from their homes by sitting in meditation during this service. We thank Sheila Callum and Lynn Frankenberger for holding high watch for each one of us today. And now, let us take a moment to consider this week's affirmation. You may wish to jot it down or take a picture of it and keep it with you as a source of inspiration throughout the week. I'll read the affirmation, and then we'll enter into a contemplation together, after which I will give the invocation. I give to the world my love, trust, and joy. I give to the world my love, trust, and joy.
Fill me, God, be thou my grace. Fill me, God, be thou my grace. Fill me, God, be thou my grace. I know God's light shines within me. I know God's light shines within me.
And so, as we remain together in the consciousness of peace, joy, love, trust, and faith, I know that I am conscious of the presence of Spirit within me, and I am so excited for today and the magnificent gifts which we will be experiencing this morning in our celebration service. Everything I need to hear and feel and know will be covered. I embrace the consciousness of today's message. I welcome it, and I know that it will serve me well throughout the week. And I simply relax and enjoy the presence of Spirit here and now. And I know that our message today by our beloved Reverend Laura will reach each and every one of us in a unique and special way. So relax and enjoy. And so it is.
Fill me, God, be thou my grace. Fill me, God, be thou my grace. Fill me, God, be thou my grace. I know God's light shines within me. I know God's light shines within me. I know God's light shines within me.
Darkness closes in, can't find your way. The doubts you drag along will always seems to say you'll never make it on your own. Remember, you're never alone. Lean into me and I'll raise you up. Gather your strength and we'll walk on water, and hold out your hand and I'll raise you up. Let go and lean into me. Longing to be filled, peace that overflows. Hear my quiet voice, just be still and know, with every sacred silence, I'm only a whisper away. Lean into me and I'll raise you up. Gather your faith and we'll walk on water, and hold out your hand and we'll raise you up. Let go and lean slip and stumble. Leave what you know behind. On the edge you'll find I'll never leave you alone. Lean into me and I'll raise you up. Gather your faith and we'll walk on water. Hold out your hand and we'll raise you up. Let go and lean into me. Just let go and lean into me.
Well, good morning and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Las Vegas's Sunday morning service. My name is Reverend Laura Hallett, and it is my honor and pleasure to be the spiritual leader for this amazing organization here in Southern Nevada. If you are joining us from somewhere else in the world, we are so delighted to have you bringing your consciousness here with us. It certainly is a felt sense of oneness when we come together this way. I'd like to start off this morning with a little gratitude. First off, to our practitioners. Our practitioner of the day, Karen Dunphy, brought us a beautiful meditation and invocation. And we have Sheila Callum and Lynn Frankenberger, who are holding high watch for us today. Our community truly is blessed by the consciousness of these amazing practitioners. And I want to thank our music team, led by Justin Vogel. Our feature artist today is Mackenzie Amar, along with our vocalist David Viella and Melissa Allen. We are so blessed to have the talent and the heart of service in these individuals that come to us each Sunday morning. I also want to thank our media team led by Joe Blom, who puts everything together so beautifully. They bring us these amazing professional quality videos for us each Sunday and Wednesday. Truly, it takes a whole community to bring together this service, and so we are so blessed by all of the heart of service, the volunteers that we have here, those people who serve on our leadership teams, our core council, and our practitioners, and so forth. We are truly blessed by these amazing individuals, and I just want to give great gratitude for that. So today is the last Sunday of February, and we are finishing up our month's theme of the inner life. This is part of our 2022 CSL Global theme, Living Everyday Wonder. Each month we take a look at a different aspect of our life and see if we can discover a little more joy, a little more wonder, maybe even some awe as we explore these topics. So far this month we've looked at the topic of I am, that indwelling presence, and how we can build a deeper and closer relationship with it. We've looked at cause and effect in our life and how we can actually begin to understand the hidden beliefs and the things that we are experiencing as a direct relationship to the effects to the causes of things in our lives. And then last week on our live service, we looked at our superpower of forgiveness. Forgiveness has been a transformative force in my life, and so I like to think of it as one of my ultimate superpowers. This week, we're tackling the topic of fear. And the title for my talk today is The Ultimate Fear Buster. I think that fear is one of the most avoided topics in our spiritual work. And yet it is the root of so many of the problems that we face throughout life. According to our Book of the Month, Atlas of the Heart by Brene Brown, fear is the response we have in so many different emotional situations, but we often call it something else. For instance, she says that anxiety is nothing but fear. And we are avoidant of the fear, and avoidance, this need to avoid things, is triggered by the feeling of fear. Shame is felt when we feel like we've done something wrong or we failed to do something we should have, and we're afraid of being found out for that. And so we feel a great deal of shame for that. Jealousy is the fear that we have when we feel like we're losing some part of a relationship. We can have fear of physical pain. We can have fear in social situations. We can feel fear in the idea of death or loss of any kind. And in the process of grieving, we're afraid to grieve sometimes. And then let's not even forget all the phobias that are out there. I did a quick internet search and came up with 107 different phobias, from acrophobia to zoophobia, and everything in between. I think that fear is often one of the most motivating forces to the people that we experience as bullies or narcissists, people that are afraid of losing the false sense of power they've worked so hard to gain in their lives. I believe that this is a contributing factor in the behavior of many of the people that we experience in this idea of being a bully or that narcissistic tendency to think only about themselves. They're motivated by fear. And I believe that fear and all of its associated emotions are the reason for most of the discord that we experience in life. So let's go back to our principles for a moment here. Our spiritual principle that we've been working with this month comes from the Declaration of Principles written by our founder, Ernest Holmes. In there he says, "We believe that the ultimate goal of life is complete freedom of all discord, and that goal is sure to be attained by all. The ultimate goal of life is complete freedom from all discord." So if fear is the root of all discord, then how do we eliminate some of this fear that we experience throughout our lives? What exactly is the ultimate fear buster? That thing that's going to help us move through it. Oftentimes fear is described using an acronym. That acronym, false evidence appearing real. FEAR. Some people describe faith as the opposite of fear. I actually think it's just on the other end of the spectrum. Fear is ultimately the belief that we have that something we don't want to experience is going to happen. And we tend to have more faith in this fear happening than we do in it not happening. Our faith is misplaced there. In the Science of Mind textbook, our founder, Ernest Holmes, says, "Fear is the positive acceptance that you shall experience that which you dislike. Faith is a positive acceptance that you shall experience that which you do like." Opposite ends of the spectrum. Same energy, same degree of momentum behind them, but they're on two polar opposite ends of the spectrum. Belief in something that you don't want to experience, and the belief in something that you do want to experience. He goes on to say that fear is nothing more nor less than the negative use of faith. It is faith misplaced, a belief in two powers instead of one. A belief in two powers instead of one. It is often said that the opposite of fear is courage. But my experience of courage, and the way that people who have engaged in courageous acts often describe it, is that fear is totally and completely present in the act. It is felt by the person who is engaging in a courageous act. But there's something within them that is compelling them to do it anyway. The need to do that courageous thing is more overwhelming than the fear of the act is itself. There's a drive within them to do the thing that we would call courageous, and that is stronger than the fear of doing it. So what is this thing that makes people who are so afraid act courageously? Well, Ernest describes it this way. There is something within you beyond all doubt and fear, something which has never been limited by your acts or destroyed by your feeling. The cause of our fears is based on not knowing who we really are. Fear is actually a tool of the ego, the false self. We're doing a class right now called From Awakening to Freedom, and in that class we're reading the book The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Michael Singer calls our ego our inner roommate. He describes it as a part of us that chatters incessantly, and everything is always the worst case scenario. It catastrophizes everything in life. And unfortunately, this is a roommate that we cannot evict. We can only learn to quiet it, to learn to spend time realizing that it's the inner roommate that's chattering, that ego sense, the ego self, that is active versus the true self. Michael Singer calls the true self the witness consciousness, the witness. It is the part that hears the inner roommate, that knows that it's chattering, that sees the fear that's building up and making this situation such a catastrophe in our lives. It hears it, and it can separate that from the reality of the situation. Ernest says that the quickest and most effective method to get rid of fear is to get quiet and lift up our whole thought in confidence and faith to something bigger than we are. To get quiet, to quiet that inner roommate, to stop that incessant chattering mind that wants to make everything a problem, and to have more faith in that witness, that part of us that knows this thing's happening here, this chattering mind. Our inner knowing, our indwelling presence. Having more faith in that than that nonsense that the inner roommate is talking about. So how do we begin to have confidence and faith in something bigger than we are? Well, this is where our spiritual practices come in. We begin by quieting the mind, by being still. And we do this through the practices of prayer and visioning and contemplation and meditation. This is when we can tap into something bigger. This is when we can tap into that indwelling presence. When we're still and quiet, we can sense it. We can feel it, we can hear it, and we begin to trust it. And the more time we spend in our spiritual practices, communing with that indwelling presence, the more our trust and faith in it is developed. But the most important part of our spiritual practice is the actual practice. It is through the consistent application of these principles and engaging repeatedly in these practices that we really begin to learn to trust. That we really begin to have faith in that something bigger than we are. Ernest says this, "Let us feel the presence of God just as we feel the presence of life. And in feeling this presence, we can feel no fear." When we keep our mind stayed on the divine, when we keep our mind in communion with that indwelling presence, there is not as much place for fear. It can still come up, but we quickly begin to see the truth of the situation, and we can set the fear aside for a greater trust in the truth that we know. So what is the practical application of all this? What does this really actually mean in our lives? How do we actually get to that ultimate fear buster? You know, in the last few years, our world has been inundated with fears of every kind. Fear that most of us have never experienced in this lifetime. And these are things that we've only read about in history books or watched on TV, or perhaps seen them happening in another country other than ours. But here we are. We've spent 2 years in the midst of a global pandemic, a plague. And now we're just beginning to see a little bit of return to some sense of normalcy, some light at the end of the tunnel. And then this week happened. The invasion of Ukraine by Russia has triggered fear all around the globe. I've seen it in the people that I've been working with. It has come through in the prayer request, in the Facebook feeds, all of the social media. There is a huge amount of fear out there right now. I believe that the greatest work that we can engage in as spiritual seekers, as people who are working to be free of discord from all nature, is to be in the world and not of the world, as the Master Teacher described it. To be in the world, experiencing everything that is going on in the world. Not with our head in the sand, not playing an ostrich. We are actually in the world and cognizant of what is happening in the world. And yet, we are at a place where we rely on and have more faith in that something bigger than we are. We have more faith in that indwelling presence than we have in the conditions of the world. This is what Joel Goldsmith calls our world work. To be fully present with what is happening and to know that the presence of the divine is actively operating in each and every situation in the world, in each and every person involved in each one of those situations. That is our world work. And it is a high calling and noble work. It is work that is based on an experience of faith, a direct experience of the faith that we have come to know, the faith in that something bigger than we are. It is not something that can be learned from a book, but it must be a direct experience of the divine operating in our lives that will allow us to know this truth in each and every situation that actually sparks fear in our lives. This is what we've come here to do. This is the work that we are called to do in this situation, in every situation, is to look at what's happening, to be in it, but to not let it permeate us, to not let it become overwhelming, to not let it become more important in our lives than the truth that we know. We are not to have a greater faith in the situations of the world than we have in that something bigger than we are. Each and every moment we have an opportunity. Each and every time we encounter anything that we would consider a fear-based thing, we have a moment to begin to apply these truths. Over the last few years, there have been several times where people have called me courageous. And the first few times that it happened, I was like, oh, what are you talking about? I'm just an ordinary person. And then I start to look at it, at the situations in which they're talking about. When I had an experience of cancer, it would have been very natural, very easy for me to put more faith in those damaged cells within my body than I did in that indwelling presence, within that truth that I know. It would have been easy to go that way. And I had about 2 hours of it, where my fear was stronger than my faith. But I did what I knew to do spiritually, and I went to see my spiritual mentor. And after about 2 hours of being in her presence, I was uplifted. I've told people this often, is if I had to describe the best way to experience cancer, what I experienced would have far exceeded my expectations of how cancer could be. I moved through it easily, I moved through it quickly, and it's now 8 years with nothing of it, no reoccurrence whatsoever. I put more faith in the work that I had learned, the things that I had learned through the study, through the practice, through communing with Spirit, through my work in visioning, through my work in meditation, through my work in prayer. I felt a tangible presence that didn't let me sink into the fear. When my brother was in the last few weeks of his life, I was at work one day, and I was really distraught. I couldn't work. I couldn't function. And so I said, well, I'm just going to go into my office and close the door and turn out the light and sit there until I could actually get to a place where I could function. And I remember turning out the light and sitting there and just saying, okay, I don't know what this is, but I can't do anything else, so I'm just going to sit here until it either goes away or something, or I have some other experience. And it didn't take very long. I remember asking the question, what do I need to know to move through this? And within moments, I heard very clearly, very distinctly, there is no pain, there is no suffering, there's only peace. And for me, it was a direct experience of the divine. It was a direct knowing. And it shifted so many things. Yes, my brother still made his transition 2 weeks later. Yes, my family still grieved over it. Yes, we still experienced all of the pain that went along with the loss of a loved one. But I did it without fear. I did it without sinking into that, oh my God, what's going to happen next? I think that is for me personally, that has been one of the biggest blessings of learning these principles and having the experience of Spirit in my life. The work that I've done through all of the classes, through all of the training and everything. I don't fear death. I don't fear loss. I don't fear grieving. Because I've moved through it. Because I've had the experience of the divine. Because I'm in the world experiencing these things. And yet I have more faith in that something greater than I am. That something greater within me that I know is continuously and constantly operating. And I think we can apply this same thing to every situation that we face in our lives. Fear is going to happen. There's a lovely saying, feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Because there is something calling in us that we can actually trust, that we can actually put our faith into, that is so much greater than any fear we could possibly encounter. And so I think this is our opportunity here in this situation that we're experiencing in our world right now. We don't know what the outcome is going to be. We know that many, many people are suffering right now because of the invasion of Ukraine. And we have an opportunity to know truth. We have an opportunity to practice what we believe in this situation. And so let's do that right now. Let's take this into prayer. Let's take this into that communion with Spirit where we speak truth, where we connect with the divine. We acknowledge its presence within our own being. We speak the truth that we know, and then we give thanks and let it go. And so if you will, turn within with me as we connect with Spirit. And so in this moment, in this place of Holy Communion, I know that there is only one thing happening here, and that is the action and the activity of the divine. I know that it permeates this entire universe, that it is not bound by borders or by time, that what happens here in consciousness happens everywhere in consciousness. That one all-pervading presence is the truth of all life. It is the truth of everyone that exists now and forever. And I know that presence as a presence of peace. That perfect peace. I know it as unconditional love. I know it as divine right action, order, balance, and harmony. I know that it is the very nature of who we are. For each one of us is that perfect and unique manifestation of the One, created by the very energy of God and endowed with all that God is. That each one of us is a place of peace, a place of love, a place of harmony, a place of joy. That is the very nature of our being. It is who we are. And so in complete realization of the power of the presence of God manifested as all life, I speak my word. I know that right now there is a peace that transcends all acts of violence. There is a peace that permeates every cell of our being. There is a peace that is active in every single situation in the world. And I believe in the power of this peace. I believe in the presence of this peace, active and operating right here and right now. I feel it at my very core, that the truth of who each one of us is that perfect, unconditional peace that permeates all. And so I know that right now in Ukraine, that peace is the overarching power that is operating right now through each and every person. Each and every person who is a combatant, each and every person who is a citizen, each and every person who is in leadership in every single country in this entire world. I know that peace is always present, simply available and waiting to be tapped into. And I know that each one of us is guided and motivated to seek that perfect peace, to be that place through which peace unfolds itself in our experience, in the experience of the citizens of Ukraine and the citizens of Russia, in the armed forces and the leaders. I know that this place of peace resides right at the very heart of their being. And in this peace, all fear is eliminated. And how good it is to know this, how good it is to feel it operating, how good it is to see it in action right here and right now. And I simply release this word to that divine, eternal consciousness that always says yes, that lifts us up higher, that fills us with faith. I let it go and I let it be. And so it is. Amen.
Here at Center for Spiritual Living Greater Las Vegas, we are a mission and vision-driven community. We offer transformative educational opportunities, deep and meaningful moments of connection, uplifting Wednesday and Sunday services. We greatly appreciate your contributions that support the amazing work we're doing here in Southern Nevada. We have several easy ways you can contribute. We have text to give. Simply text the amount of your donation to our text to give number and you'll be prompted to enter your information. There's a link to our online donation page posted below this video where you can contribute by debit or credit card. And of course, you're always welcome to send a check to our office if that works better for you. All of your contributions go to support the great work that we're doing here in Greater Las Vegas community.
Times in our lives, we all have things, we all have sorrows, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me where you're not strong, I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Please, if there's a load you have to bear and you can't carry, I'm right up the road, I'll share your load. If you just call me, you just call me. If you need a friend, call me, call me. If you need a friend, call me. You just call me, just call me, just call me.
Thank you, Mackenzie. You always inspire and uplift us with your talent. And thank you for your generous gift in support of our center. We remain committed to serving you. Center for Spiritual Living Greater Las Vegas continues to provide enriching services, transformative classes, and powerful opportunities for connection within our community. Be sure to watch the announcements at the end of today's service for what's coming up in the weeks ahead. And now, let us all join together in our closing song and benediction.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Oh, use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll
This is high and holy work that we are engaged in. Transforming fear into faith. Bringing about a different experience in our world. That's what we're about. Transforming lives through our spiritual practices, through the principles that we hold near and dear to our heart, through the shared experiences, through the truth that we know. To be in the world and yet not of the world. That's our work. So I have a few announcements for us. First off, just to give you a little update from our relocation committee, we are actively looking for locations. In fact, we're going to visit a couple of them tomorrow. As we're doing our work, we've decided that there is an opportunity here to check in with our community and to see what is actually, we have in our own human minds an idea of what is the perfect thing, but we know that Spirit's idea can be so much more expansive. And by engaging in the process of visioning, we tap into what is Spirit's highest idea for our community, for what our new facility will look like, for where it is, and for how we use it. And so we've set up a series of visioning sessions during the month of March. There'll be 4 different sessions. You're invited to attend one or all, whatever works with your schedule. I've set them up for noon on Sundays, starting on March 6th at noon. There'll be one on the 6th and one on the 13th. And then on Wednesday evenings, before our Wednesday evening service at 7 o'clock, we will do a visioning at 6 o'clock. So on Wednesday, March 9th and March 16th, we will also do visioning. The link will be on the website, and it's also coming out in the newsletter this week. So look for that. You're encouraged to attend, like I said, one or all of them. We would really appreciate having you here with us to vision for what is the next yet to be as a Center for Spiritual Living Greater Las Vegas. So please join us for that. I have a new class that's offered. Oh, well, it's not a brand new class, but it hasn't been taught here for about 6 years. It is one of my favorite classes to teach. I absolutely love this class. It's called Meditation is More Than You Think. And I love it because I get to play with meditation. I get to find all of these unique ways. We take a field trip, we color, we draw, we write, we walk, we make malas, prayer beads. So it's really a joyous time to come together. So this class is 8 weeks. It starts on March 10th. I originally announced it as March 3rd, but it's a little bit too close to do that, so we decided to push it back one more week. So it runs from March 3rd to April 28th. It's 8 weeks, 2.5 hours a night on Thursdays. All of the information, again, will be in the newsletter and on the website with a link for you to register for that class if you're interested. And then we have our community workshops. I've been doing workshops each month to support the ideas that we're talking about. Well, next month is play, and then the month of April is creativity. And these are 2 of my favorite things. And so I've set up the workshops for a spiritual practice that I've been doing for about 6 years now. I call it creative mindfulness, and it is really fun and playful, and it's a great technique for getting yourself into a state of mindfulness, which is where you can have a lot of clarity, where things will come through a little clearer. It's a state of focused awareness. And this process that I do allows your chattering mind to be occupied so that you have a greater space for Spirit to reveal itself through you. So it's a great experience. I hope you enjoy me with that. The first one will be on Saturday, March 12th from 1 to 3. And then the second one will be April 9th, Saturday, April 9th from 1 to 3. They're online, both of them, and through Zoom. So I hope you consider joining us for the community workshops. Again, the information will be on the website and in the newsletter for both of those upcoming workshops. So I hope you have a fabulous week. Remember to keep peace in your heart for this week. And anytime fear comes up for anything, just go back to some truth that you know. Find some spiritual truth, whatever it is. God is all there is a perfect one. Fear comes up, rearing its ugly head at you. Just remember, there's nothing happening here but the presence of the divine. Nothing outside of the action and the activity of that indwelling presence is ever happening in your life. So just keep reminding yourself of that. Find those spiritual truths that you can anchor onto and use them to overcome any fear that you have in your life. And anytime you hear or read anything about the Ukraine, please take a moment, take a couple breaths, and breathe in peace and breathe out peace. It's world work. It's what we're here to do. Have a beautiful and blessed week, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
The monthly publication, Science of Mind magazine, is a treasure to be read and contemplated. Along with in-depth articles, there is a day-to-day spiritual support to be gleaned from its daily guides. Licensed practitioner Lynn Frankenberger hosts Adventures in Faith every Tuesday at 11 a.m. on Zoom, and you're invited to join in. This is a weekly group discussion that focuses on those daily guides and how to apply them. Check Facebook and our weekly newsletter for more details. CSL Greater Las Vegas brings you much of your favorite spiritual music every Friday at 7 p.m. with spiritual soundscapes. Enjoy performances from CSLGLV vocalists along with special guest singers. It's music for your soul. Subscribe to the CSLGLV YouTube channel to get a convenient link sent to you for each musical performance. At CSL Greater Las Vegas, it is our mission to inspire spiritual discovery through community connection, exploration, and celebration. This mission supports the all-inclusive vision of Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide, in which we envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation.